Hi there. Chris here with another Way the Brush conversation. This week I am joined by Jordan, aka Plasma Painting, aka Plasma Plays, aka Plasma? I don't know. Is it what are the other handles?
Um, that's pretty much it. Mostly online, I'm known as Plasma or Plasma Plays usually. I'm usually only on my Plasma Painting account when I watch Way the Brush, so usually it's just Plasma.
Just Plasma? So,
Yeah.
Jordan, Plasma Painting. How are you today?
I'm doing well, just getting through some more painting stuff. What about yourself?
I'm not unwell. What are you working on currently? Now, okay, yeah.
Um,
Now Plasma Painting is a commission service you currently are running, right?
I haven't officially started yet. I've still been working on the website. I've also got some other things that I've been trying to take care of before I start uh actually launching. So I've got a few things I'm trying to get done before that, but I do plan on actually starting the studio.
Yeah. Whereabouts are you?
Upper US. So specifically just like Chicagoland area.
Oh, okay. So you're in the Chicago area. Okay. So there's lots of potential customers in your area. Okay, that's right on. And so okay, so you're not officially launched yet,
Yeah.
and because you still have a few other little kinks to work out, I suppose. Um, Now you're 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 not like letting these things hinder your launching, are you? Like, kind of like, maybe I'll do it next week, or maybe I'll do it next week. You're not procrastinating, are you?
No, no. The two main things that I'm trying to get done, one of them is a book that I've been working on for a couple of years. I'm trying to get that finished, not published, but like to a point where I can send it to a publisher. I'm trying to get that done because that's been something I've been working on for a while. I also am in Boy Scouts, so I've been working on Eagle Project for the past few months, so that I'm
Okay,
trying to get done as well.
right on. Well, okay, so you're a busy man. You're a busy man. Okay, I get it. I get it. I mean, I'm just I'm just trying to poke at what possibly is lying underneath the surface here. I'm just trying to investigate, as it were.
Hmm.
This is not just conversation. This is where I interrogate people as well. Okay, so wargaming, painting. How long have you been in the hobby?
Um, I got my first model set, I think mid-April of last year, which was a couple months after I originally found the main Mini Wargaming channel. Um, I don't know how I found you guys actually. It was kind of just by accident, I guess, because oh, I remember. So I had seen a YouTube video on a gamer's channel, and they were doing a tour of like their gaming area, and they pointed out how they had some Warhammer fantasy models. So I looked it up and I found 40K. And searched up some stuff on YouTube. I eventually found you guys. So, yay, that
Right
ended
on.
up being pretty well.
And so it's all downhill from there, essentially, is what you're saying, right? The addiction began.
Yeah.
So okay, so you're relatively new to the whole hobby aspect. Now,
Mhm.
do you have like an art background? Like what was because like do you game more or do you paint more?
Well,
Like do you consider yourself a painter or a gamer?
oh, that's hard because I love playing games, but the thing is, I don't usually game during the week. It's usually the weekend. So, and most of the time, if I don't have hours of schoolwork, I try and paint. So, if we're going by how much I do of a thing, it'd probably be more of a painter, but my main channel on YouTube is for gaming, so I don't know, take your pick.
Okay, so Plasma plays
Mhm.
gaming. I might have breezed through the channel, but you also do just like computer gaming and stuff like that, right?
For right
Yeah.
now, yeah,
And
mostly
so okay,
PC.
so like what kind of games are you doing there?
Um, I I've done a couple of things like I don't know if you know like XCOM,
Yep.
like the okay. So I've been doing I've been starting a series for that, but it's currently on hold because I'm trying to figure out why. I use Fraps for all my recording, and that kind of can slow down your PC
Right.
performance,
Yep.
especially when I'm doing it on my laptop.
Right.
So I've been trying to figure out why it's causing so much lag. So until I figure that out, I won't be doing much with that. But as of recently, I've been doing a lot of random games that I've somehow found on Steam, and apparently people like it. They've been getting decent amounts of views. So
Oh, right on. Yeah. Well, gaming, like the gaming websites and things of that nature, they do really well on
mhm.
YouTube, right? Like getting into gaming, video gaming. The tabletop gaming, nah, not so much. And yeah, so like people, looking to make their YouTube millions, showing painting videos or
Mhm.
wargaming videos, and not until the hobby becomes a little more mainstream. Like video gaming is mainstream,
Oh
right?
yeah, totally,
Yeah.
totally.
And so that's why it's so popular in YouTube. I mean, like so many people. Like my son was showing me some stupid video last night of like this. I can't remember what the heck the game's called, but it was two guys running towards another character, saying he's out of ammo. He's out of ammo. And then the guy turns around, and shoots one of them, and he's got ammo. The video is only 6 seconds long, and it was like a couple 100,000 views for a 6 second
It
video.
it may have been a teaser for the new Order 1886 game that recently came out.
No, the game was, I think, is like H1.
Oh, H1Z1.
Yeah, H1Z1. Yeah,
It's a big multiplayer zombie game.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
um, I understand why that would be there because the whole idea is to scavenge for things, and it's just like, okay, we're gonna try and get this guy because he has no way to protect himself. Oh wait, he has a way to protect himself. Run the other way so we
yeah,
don't die.
yeah. Exactly, and
Um,
that's exactly. And like he's on the floor laughing his head off, and I'm like, well, dude, I'm sorry, I don't get it. I mean, it's funny, but I mean, it's not on the floor laughing my ass off kind of thing, right? It's like,
mhm.
come on, man. Yeah. So only a few years into the hobby. So, what is your preferred army in what is it, 40K or
um,
fantasy you play?
40K.
Yeah.
So the majority of my painting has been like my painting time has been spent on trying to build up my Necron army. Um, so for example, I actually have a few things if you
Yeah.
don't mind me
No.
showing
Oh
them.
no. Please show
Um,
everything. Show everything and everything that you want to show off. Please. I.
so
It's almost a
uh,
requirement.
I figured from watching the last couple. Um, I don't know if you remember, but a couple, I think it was a January probably that I sent you an email about a Doom scythe that I was working on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I've been trying to figure out how to do some more detail. So this is what I ended up doing. Um, I did I think this is outdoor guard is what the colored
Oh,
stuff
okay. So
is.
it's like more of a desaturated blue kind of thing.
Like more of a kind of close to like a purple is what I kind of see it as.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, I have the paintball right here. Yeah, outdoor guard.
Yeah, Altdorf
Um,
Guard blue. Yeah, it's a very light blue. It's not quite as
mhm,
strong as like McCraig blue or Cantor
yeah.
blue or something like that, where they're very very blue feeling.
Mhm,
Altdorf is, it's got like a little bit of gray to it almost. It's almost like the Fang, except a little bit more blue.
mhm. Yeah,
Um,
so
so you
that's
started working on him.
yeah. So I've been trying to touch up on that one because I got to a point where I felt finished with it, but then I kind of went back to it a couple weeks ago and I was like, I'm not really finished with this. So I did that and I still have some more touch up stuff to do. I did want to ask you a question about this model
Sure.
actually. So in between like the wings, I currently have it only black, and I've been considering possibly uh, doing that all like silver, and then either doing a wash or something with that. Um, I just want to know what like your opinion on that would be.
Silver would work well. Gold would probably look pretty cool too, if you went with gold. Just because that blue and the gold would play nicely, and you also have the other panels are black, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and so the gold would play really nicely with those. The silver would look good too. The silver would keep kind of a not would just keep kind of a level feeling to everything, whereas the gold would add a little bit more color and contrast to the model because it would really play with that blue very well. And yellow, and I mean, yellow and blue is such a great color combination that, so yeah, if you lay it in, say for example, you base coated those areas in Gannett Gold and hit it either with Agrax Earthshade or Seraphim Sepia, and then gave it just a kind of a light little edge highlight or even dry brush of Rune Fang, not Rune Fang, what's the gold? Ulrich Gold is the bright gold. If you gave it just a quick little highlight of that, and just to pick up the edges and such, that would look pretty cool. You could do the same thing with the silver. If you went with silver, you go with something like Ironbreaker as the base coat, and you could give it a wash of either like Nuln Oil. You could go with Agrax, just to get a little warmer tone, because I'm not a huge fan of Nuln Oil. There's some cases where Nuln Oil just doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
And I prefer Agrax because it's got the warmer tones to it. But you could also hit it with, say, for example, Drakenhof Nightshade, a blue, a dark blue, and give it a bit of a cold steel kind of look, and that would actually play with the blue of the model and the black. So that actually would keep it kind of not monotone, but keep within that color palette, keeping it kind of very dark.
Kind of
and
keep the uniformity on it.
Yeah, give it a little bit more uniformity, right? Rather than contrast, it would keep more of a uniform kind of feeling to the model, right? And so again, it is really up to you, but I think like gold would work well. But then the gold elements, like if you got that edge colored in gold, you kind of want to have something else around the model, either in golds or in brighter colors. And so you might want to stay with steels, so that because I noticed like the crystal was done, it looked kind of a blue as well.
Yeah, the crystal is kind of like what I've been doing for some of my other stuff. It's a combination of using layers with I have the paints over here so I can kind of read off the names. It's a kind of like a layered combination of Calidor, Lothrin, and Tessalus. So it kind of gives that somewhat of a dark to light transition, as if it's getting ready to like fire.
Very cool. Yeah. Yeah, and already at that point there, you're getting pretty bright, which is good because I mean it's a crystal and should really be the focal point of visual interest, right? So yeah, I mean the silver. If you go with the silver, I would recommend hitting it with like Drakenhof Nightshade, give it that blue tint, giving it that kind of feeling like that, and you could also, again hit that with like a light dry brush of either like Necron Compound or Rune Fang Steel. Either one works really well. Necron Compound is actually a really fun one to use. It's really nice on metals.
I've been meaning to pick some of that up. I haven't gotten that.
Yeah, it makes dry brushing metallics real easy. Griffin Gold is the other one, for obviously for the gold ones, and it's a dry, and that one works really well as well. It makes dry brushing really really easy because the dry compounds, the pigments in them are just so heavy that it just takes a little bit on your brush, just wipe the excess off, and just give it a quick little dry brush, and you're laughing as we're, and yeah, but very cool. It's kind of hard, to figure out what, that right balance between contrast and kind of keep the feeling, and it all depends on like what exactly you're comfortable with. Like if you want to go for a bit more of a stylized approach where there's more contrast in the model, and so visually it's very striking on the tabletop versus keeping very uniform kind of color palette and keeping kind of the colors subdued. It gives it a bit more of a natural feeling, but then on the tabletop just doesn't sparkle. You know what I mean? Whereas if you had the gold on the trim, like it would catch people's eye, and if you had the whole table. And as a commission painter, I think you should always go for the wow factor. And impress. Bright, bold colors always impress.
Oh yeah, totally.
And just like scary impresses, well, big and bold colors impress as well.
I may have to try. No, you're fine. I may have to try that. That'd be interesting just to see how it would look.
Was there any other products? Any other models that you're working on?
Oh, I have a whole thing right here.
So like your arming is what? Just Necrons right now, or?
Currently the Necrons are my focus. But you've seen some of the pictures I sent you of like my Space Marines that I started looking
Right.
into.
Yeah.
I have a couple guys here. I don't remember if I sent you a picture of these guys. Um,
Yeah.
some Cadians. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. I don't know if I sent you a picture or not.
I thought I thought you did because there was a Space Marine and a Cadian, and they were both in your little color
Oh yeah,
scheme.
yeah. Because I
Yeah.
sent you a picture of the first couple of Space Marines I tried, the Cadian, and then one of the destroyers. Um, but this is so you had suggested that I'm not sure if it'll go through the camera, but you had suggested that I try doing like green on the knee pads. I'm not sure
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
see that.
Yep.
Okay. I think it works a lot better because it separates all the gray and it gives it that little bit extra just color.
Yeah, well, because like see, like the one thing that I found with the way you were working your color scheme is you got a lot of colors at play,
Yeah.
and that it is tough because most Space Marine color schemes are very very simple, right? They're either one color with a spot color, or they're two colors with the spot color. They usually don't go more complex than that, right? Whereas your color scheme is quite complex. You got what, 4 colors, I believe, you want to use within the
Uh,
color.
I've got Lothrin,
You've got the blue, green,
blue,
white,
green, yellow,
or yellow and gray, right?
gray, and then kind of like the no, kind of just like the normal Ushabi bone for the like little icons or how do you say that paint?
Ushabti?
I think so. Yeah, like for the
Yeah, like the
packs, like
scrolls.
just the normal bone.
Yeah, um, yeah, like that's it's challenging, and I mean you're struggling with it because it's a challenge. I mean once you work it out, you're gonna work out something great. I know, I'm sure.
Mhm.
But yeah, like most Space Marines, I mean, like even like Howling Griffins, where they're the gold and red, quartered up kind of color scheme, right? They got like the checker or like the quartering, the armor's quartered, and that's even fairly complex for a Space Marine. Usually, Space Marines are all just one solid kind of color, right? And so,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's often why you're kind of running into a bit of how do I accomplish my goal here, because I want to again create that wow factor on it. And so now I do like that your helmet is one particular color, and then your shoulder pads, and you get the trim, and then so that's why I suggested the knee pads being colored same as the shoulder pads, just to kind of tie them together and just kind of help create some balance on the model. But again, when you're working with that many colors, it's really kind of hard. It's really challenging to maintain balance and try and maintain that look that you want. Like even the mini wargaming color scheme that we had chosen for our chapter Space Marines, I found that too complex. because they have the metal bits, and then they have the gold bits, and then they have the green bits, and you know what I mean, like, and then there's some white on it, and it's just there was just too many colors on it, and I think they should have just gone for something fairly simple, which would have been like a Howling Griffin, really. One section being gold, then green, and then the icon looks white, or the writing's in white. You know what I mean? And just something simple like that, and just it doesn't have to be complex. Everybody always wants to overcomplicate things, and it when you're dealing with such small surfaces, it's unnecessary. You're just going to drive yourself crazy trying to work all that out, and it's unnecessary.
I don't know. Sometimes overcomplication is a good thing.
Well, yeah, because then you're forced to solve the problem, and anytime you're thinking and you're solving problems, the better. But still, I mean, I'd rather not think about it and just relax and paint. So, okay, what else are you working on?
So these next two guys are kind of helping you with one of your points because you've been talking about how you wish you had your first model that you painted to show others to kind of bolster their spirits. So this one's kind of a bad example because I actually did this one somehow pretty well. So the first set I originally got was like that Dark Angel starter set.
Okay.
That came with like 5 guys.
Yep.
So this was technically the first model that I ever painted, which was obviously just off of like the like instructions.
Yeah.
So obviously it's gonna probably look well. However, I have the first Necron that I painted, and you've probably seen him in a couple of the pictures I sent you, but you might get a kick out of this. So he is just all blue,
Right.
and it it I still have him. I haven't stripped him simply because just to remind me, it's like, hey, is it bad as that? Nope. All right, I'm good.
Yeah,
Because
every day, if you're getting a
uh,
little bit better every day, then it's a good day. It's a good day. As long as you're getting a little bit better, and as long as you're always looking to improve, and no matter what kind of level of painting you think you're at, you're still not there. That you can
yep.
still go a little bit further and get a little bit better at something, or a little bit more efficient at something, and so you're always looking to improve, and that's the mark of a good painter, a good artist is.
Mhm.
There's always room to improve. There's always room for efficiency, or something. There's always room for improvement.
Yes, it's hard to hit that like climax or the apex where like everything goes like this, and with this kind of stuff I've seen, that's really hard to hit that flat line.
Yeah. No, well, I wouldn't say it's hard, but well, okay.
Well,
Let's say
from what
no.
I've
Let's
seen,
say it's hard, and it should always be a challenge. And yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, let's try and remain humble here.
let's see. I do have a couple other things, but really quickly, when you were asking me about stuff that I was working on before starting the studio, one of the other things is that I've been meaning to get an airbrush because I have not gotten one of those yet. I've been looking at probably the Patriot 105 from Badger because
Yep,
that seems pretty good.
it is.
That's
I enjoy the brush. I've been using it for a couple years now. I also have the Renegade Chrome, and that one's more for like fine work because it's got a sharper needle, and it's got a few other features on it, and even the paint well is smaller. It's more like designed for like little spurts of ink kind of thing, right?
yeah.
Versus the Patriot. The Patriot has got a bigger paint well reservoir, and it's a sturdy brush. I mean, I've run all sorts of stuff through it. And I mean, like, I've run GW paint with no thinners through it. I've run, you know, all sorts of cleaners through it, and it still keeps on going. And yeah, I've even run future floor polish through it for glazing, right? And
Hmm.
yeah, it's a good brush. I mean, it does pretty much everything you needed to do, which is priming, base coating, and the first couple layers of highlighting. You can even get into some small areas, like I've done, like war jacks and stuff like that, where like the thigh pad, I want to get color separated from the metallics, and what I mean. I could still get in there and accomplish that with minimal masking and what have you. I like the brush. I have no idea what the other competitor type brushes like Iwata's or anybody else. I don't know what their comparable brush to the Patriot would be, but yeah, I don't. Honestly, like, I mean, I'm not that big an airbrush guy. Uh, I don't live and breathe airbrush stuff, but I do enjoy it. I mean, like, it's a tool, right? And I'm still mastering it as it were. Still a lot of nuance, but I mentioned it before. Like, when you're looking for hints and tricks and tips and what have you, for airbrushing, I find the most helpful ones are not watching other like miniature painters, not watching them, that watching illustration artists and guys who professionally airbrush,
Hmm.
the professional airbrushers. Watch them. They're much more enlightening as far as brush technique and care and all of that. They're far more richer source of information than watching some guy who likes to airbrush his Land Raider. But
All right.
yeah. But yeah, if you're looking to pick up an airbrush, yeah, I don't think you could go wrong with a Badger Patriot 105. Get a compressor, of course, one that
Yeah.
has a storage tank on it, and control valve so you can adjust your psi. Because even with the Patriot, like oftentimes when I'm flushing it out, I run it at a higher psi, like 50, 60 when I'm flushing it. But when I'm getting into small nooks and crannies, I'll take it down to about anywhere from 20 to 30 psi, just to get into those little nooks and crannies and things like that. So even with the Patriot, you have to adjust the pressures, and also depending on what you're working on as well, or what paints you're using, how thin you have them, and again, like I said, like I'm still learning this stuff too, because I'm really starting to see the importance of really thinning the paint down, and even really like almost over thinning the paint. The value in over thinning the paint, that it actually is quite handy to do at times. So, anyway.
All right, cool.
Anything else? What else? Come on. You've got me for as long as you like right now. So ask away, man. Ask away.
All right, I got a couple other things to show. So
Don't be shy.
when I originally started watching your show, one of the first things I asked you about was doing like a lightning effect for the resurrection orbs.
Right.
So I got a Lord not too long ago, and I'll probably have to send you a picture of this. I'm not sure if you can.
I can kind of see
how
something.
much of that you can see. So I've tried doing a little bit of blending on the top there, and using like I think I used white scar to do like lightning-ish effects. So that's been something I've been trying to do, as well as that. So with my army, it's like all the characters except for the death marks that I have, and all of the actual characters, as well as the pilots for a couple of my vehicles, aren't like washed in Drakenhof, because I love the look of the like cold steel kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So since I had gotten a second Annihilation Barge, which I also have here, I took the Overlord from that and tried something a little different. So instead of doing like a normal metal, I did like I think I used Hatsuit Copper.
Okay.
Just to see how it looked. I think it actually didn't turn out too bad.
No, it looks pretty cool. I don't know if it's the yellow of your room, but your walls look very orange, or
yeah,
the wall behind you.
Yeah, they're orange.
Yeah, and so like the model looks really orange when you initially held it up there. But yeah, if you can take a picture of it and send that to me, and I'll display that at the moment when you post that. I think the copper looks great. Really, like any Necron players out there and painters, really should be just experimenting with like all sorts of different metallics, and playing with like a copper. And like, for example, if you had that Hashit copper and you blended it with Runefang steel, say for example, you had it Hashit copper at the elbow joint, and you blended it to the silver to the shoulder. You know what I mean? You'd get a really interesting kind of look where you started blending the metallics together. Or even just layering them on top of each other, like just break them down really thin with the medium, and then just glaze it on top, and create some really interesting looks. Even with the Hashit copper, adding silver to it, or highlighting it in golds, or man, there's like with the metallics.
There's a lot you can do.
What's that?
There's a lot you can do.
Yeah, there's a lot of different directions you can go. And Necrons, everybody just kind of goes, oh, I'll just do it silver. But no, there's so many more opportunities to go with, somebody who's robotic, right? Because, you can go with coppers, you can go with bronzes, you can go with metals, you can go with, and even silver. You can make it look like silver, you can make it look like polish, you can make it look like aluminum, you can make it, like a bazillion different directions you can go. And people just... kind of get lazy. Oh, I'm just going to paint it metallic. Boring.
Well, that's kind of why I like to do the Drakenhof Nightshade wash, because I think it makes the Necrons look a little bit more distinguishable. At least my guys a little bit more distinguishable, and it also gives them a little bit extra detail to kind of bump them up a little bit higher than tabletop. But I don't know, everyone... Like you've said before, everyone has their own definition of tabletop and Golden Demon and all that kind of stuff. So,
yeah, oh yeah. Well, and of course, it's beauty's in the eye of the beholder. If you're going to be a commission artist, your number one concern is the customer happy with it? Because as long as he's happy or she, then that's all that matters, right? And if you say you labor at one aspect for hours and hours and hours to get an effect down, and your customer loves it, and then you do something else and it took you like 2 minutes to do, and your customer loves it, well, then either way, your customer loves it, and that's all that matters, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as a commission artist, I mean, you really want to look for the most efficient and quick ways of accomplishing an effect, right?
Yeah.
Because, you've got to increase turnaround, right? You've got to increase your productivity, and, so it's quite a thing, especially, for an area like yours. I'm sure there's quite a few artists around in your area. I have no idea how many, because I have no idea how big the Chicago area is.
I'm pretty sure there's quite a few, but I don't know. There's probably at least a couple in like the inner city, and probably a couple out where I am. But I'm not entirely sure about that, actually.
Is there a big gaming group where you are?
No, sadly. Which is why I've been thinking of, like, really trying to get a decent army set up of my Necrons, because I'm actually, I think when I checked, it was like an hour and a half to get from where I am to mini wargaming. So that's why I've been trying to get like an army done, because really I'm not horribly far away from you guys. So
an hour and a half.
I think. Hang on.
Well,
I could be horribly wrong.
Maybe. Well, if you're close to Chicago, are you on the east side of Chicago?
No, I'm on the west side.
The west side? Okay, yeah. So you're a little further away from us than Chicago itself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, an hour and a half. No, you're right from like Detroit to here is like a 3-hour drive. And from Detroit to Chicago, that's what? 2.5, 3-hour drive? 2.5?
I think so.
Yeah. And yeah, because that's pretty much the way you'd have to go. Is you'd have to go from Chicago to Detroit, and then through Windsor all the way up by Hamilton, and then come across, and you're over in Welland. Because the other way to go is like around Lake Erie, and that's like cutting through Ohio and heading up into New York State, and that's kind of like going around the block kind of thing.
I was horribly wrong.
What are you, about an 8-hour drive?
750 hour and 20 minutes flight. Okay, so that's what I was thinking of.
Okay, hour 20 flight. That's not bad.
Because that's an hour 20 flight to Buffalo, New York, and then probably a good 20, probably like an hour drive to get to you.
From
no,
Buffalo Airport?
From
no,
Buffalo,
I've done it in half an hour.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. It's like Buffalo looks like about a half an hour drive, but yeah, it's basically 8 hours drive. Okay, I was horribly wrong.
Yeah, that sounds about right. 8-hour drive? Yeah, that's about right. But 8-hour drive is not really that bad.
It's not the worst thing, especially if like it's like during summer or something, I can just stay in a hotel somewhere.
Well, so. Yeah, Niagara Falls. Niagara Falls is beautiful. It's right there.
Well, that too. That would be kind of the thing that would make me get my family to take us up there. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, we've talked about aligning ourselves with Niagara Falls, like to help draw people, especially war gamers, because like there's a lot of war gamers that have families and such, and convincing the wife that let's go to Niagara Falls, it'd be romantic and we'll spend some time together. And then she goes, I'm going shopping. I'm going to mini wargaming. Bye-bye.
That's pretty much what I would do.
Yeah, exactly. All right, I'm going to mini wargaming. Bye-bye. And takes off,
See you guys in about 8 hours.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much what I did the first time I came down here, because I was in Northern Ontario when I first started getting familiar with mini wargaming. And I came down for a tournament the first time. And... yeah, the wife, she cruised around Niagara Falls, and she cruised around Welland and stuff like that, and I played a tournament, and we had a blast.
Separately, but you still had a blast.
Yeah. Oh no, well, I mean, she was spending my money, so she was happy, right? So. So anything else that we need to cover today, Jordan?
I think just one more quick little thing.
Okay.
So this is my other Annihilation barge that I had been working on. So I did like the similar pattern to like the Doom Scythe, where there's like the different colors, but with thankfully I can take off the Canon to show this. I'll probably send you a picture. Um, with the Canon as well, I did sort of like I think it's Enshin gray.
Okay. Yeah.
On like the little parts, uh, like the little main parts, kind of just to give it a little bit more color, make it a little bit more interesting. And then
Now, are you talking like the edge highlight, or did you painted the entire panel the Eshin gray?
The entire what?
The entire panel.
Um,
Like the little segment.
like the separate little segments that you see, like I did those Enshin gray to kind of separate from the black of the Tesla Destructor.
Right. Okay.
Kind of just make it look a little bit different, a little bit more interesting. I'll see if I can get this back on the model. There we go. That's the problem sometimes. You take off a piece and it's like, now can I get it back on? I'm just trying to think of anything else.
Well, don't. I mean, you don't have to ask me any questions. I mean, we can sit here and talk. I mean, like, you know.
Oh yeah, I think you said this before, but like, would you be willing to like actually do battle reports? Like in general? I
Yeah.
believe. Okay.
Yeah, like Matt and Dave have talked to me, you know, about doing battle reports and stuff, and you know, I mean, we've always talked about me doing battle reports, but the way my schedule usually runs and just the production, just keeping up with like all the quick tips and things like that, that you know, I usually don't end up getting any done, so I never get to play, and yeah, I mean, you know, yeah, boohoo, poor Chris, but you know, it's the way she goes, I guess. I mean, I'd like to play more. You know, I mean, I've been talking about this burnout thing that's been looming over my shoulder for a bit now, and you know, it's just, you know, just a bit of a break from, you know, the kind of usual routine kind of stuff, you know. Not that I'm getting tired of painting or answering people's questions or anything like that. I just need to keep it fresh, you know, and keep it exciting, and you know, and sometimes, you know, there are other things that are like, you know, bubbling at the back of my brain, because like a lot of times when people ask me a question, I don't. It's not like I've done it before. I can't really quite think of anything at the moment, but sometimes I'm usually answering the question, and then so like for the quick tips, for example, somebody asked me, well, how would you handle this? Well, I'll grab that model and I'll paint it, and that's pretty much my answer to how I would handle it. So oftentimes when I'm asked a question, my answer is often the first time responding to it, but oftentimes it takes a little bit of planning to how best answer the question. And so, yeah, like an idea will bubble at the back of my brain about how best to handle a painting technique or certain color combination or achieving a certain result on a model or something along those lines. I'll conceptualize it for a long time before actually committing paint to the model. But, you know, that's just me trying to work out, you know, all the possible scenarios of, you know, completely ruining it. and not going down that path of ruining the model kind of thing, right?
And or not having to do the video over and over and over again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I don't have that kind of time, right? Because I mean, it's not like we're, you know, a huge production company where we can afford to, you know, experiment with different things all the time. Every once in a while we get to branch out and do something different, but not all the time. Our budget doesn't quite allow for that. But yeah, it'd be a lot of fun if you came up for a visit. If you came for a visit and wanted to challenge me to a game, yeah, we could play a game that day, and there'd be no problems.
Yeah. There are only three things that are preventing that, though. I need to actually get a decently sized army. I need to actually buy the rule book, and I need to learn the rules.
Well, you got to get some games in.
There actually is someone I know who has I think it's a Dark Angels army. He's not that far from me. I've been talking to him a little bit. So once I get an army, I think I'm gonna try and play a couple games against him. I'm gonna be ordering the rule book here soon, so I can start leafing through that giant thing.
Yeah, find yourself the softcover rule book, or even look up Fleabay and see if you can find the small rule books, because they've been printed a few times now. Once in that Dark Vengeance book, because now the Dark Vengeance box set comes with the new rule book, and then that Blood Angel one I think comes with the new rule book, and the Space Wolf one I believe comes with the new rule book. And so you can find that little soft cover book. I find those books the handiest because they're small and
They're small and portable, and it's really just easy.
yeah. Well, and they're they're good bathroom material too. Yeah, just sit there and just it's a little book and just handle it. And again, we've headed back into bathrooms. I don't know how my brain works sometimes, but anywho. So, Jordan, I think it was a good conversation we've had today. I think we've learned a good deal about you, and get to work on your site, man. Get that happening.
Oh yeah, I need to get that done.
Don't make excuses, man. Don't make excuses. Just get it done. Because the longer you make excuses, then the longer it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And you got to start putting yourself out there, early on, even if what you think you've got right now is not enough. That's okay. Put it out there, because as you develop, it gets stronger, and it'll be more concrete later on. And so you can always work on video quality issues, or things of that nature, or taking better pictures, or what I mean, because like I was saying earlier in Way of the Brush today, a microphone, having a good microphone, right, is key. I mean, like right now I'm talking through an expensive camera, but it only does so many pixels, and you know what I mean. But the sound quality, if I was talking to you through the webcam mic, where you get this kind of hissing and crackling, and you know what I mean, that's nobody's gonna want to listen to that. That's garbage, right?
Webcam mics are not good for the longest time, because eventually this microphone stopped. I didn't have my Snowball that I'm currently talking to you through yet. I had to use that, and it sounds so bad. Sounds horrible.
Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. So, it doesn't have to be perfect right out the gate, man. Just start getting it done now. Start putting your name out there. Start getting the commissions rolling. And, you it's just as long as your customers are happy with whoever you get right now, as long as they're happy with what you've got done for them, and you got it done reasonably quickly and what have you, then just start going now. Don't worry about the website. You can always build up that website later on. You can always build up that portfolio of accomplished projects or completed projects, later on, that, you can have on the website. Like, don't let not having that website hold you back. Start painting now. Start taking commissions now. Taking small, commissions. You don't have to do like a whole 5,000 point army right now. Just do a squad. Do a squad for somebody. And, and of course, know what your time is worth. Don't lowball yourself. It's bad enough so many commission artists out there lowball each other. Don't lowball yourself. Assign a value to your work. Know what your time is worth. And people will pay it. People will pay it. So that's the biggest bit of advice I can give you. So hopefully that helps. And,
yes, it does. Thank you.
Yeah. Otherwise, I have to come to Chicago and kick you in the bum and get you painting.
And just so you know, if you ever start burning out, I think me and Xanthos and a couple other guys are gonna have to drag you back into your painting studio.
Yeah, exactly. Get me painting. Don't worry, I got enough people here poking and prodding me and trying to keep me pumped up about stuff.
Stick.
So very good, and I think we're done. Any words of wisdom you want to impart to the viewers right now?
Use a wet palette. Use it. It's so much better than painting out of the pot. I started out painting out of the pot, and after doing my own little version of a wet palette, I've learned that's a lot better. I did find your tutorial on your channel that you have, so I will be trying to do something like that. But with the one I have, it's actually been kind of working pretty well.
Well, there we go. And you know what? The wet palette. You know what? We should make that. It's kind of like you're familiar with Star Wars, right?
Yes.
Okay, Jedis, right? Jedis have to make their own lightsaber. Well, let's make it so that all painters as part of their training to become a true painter, they have to make themselves a wet palette. They have to use a special blend of paper and sponge and containers, and it's the mark of a true painter, of a wet palette. That's when you're a real painter, is when you have built your own wet palette. And
Yeah.
that's when you're truly a Jedi and the Force is strong with you. And, and I think I'll end it at that point right there. And so that was Jordan, Plasma Painting, or Plasma Plays, if you're watching his video gaming channel. And so if you want to join me for a conversation, in the description below is my Skype handle. Shoot me a message and we'll work out a time when we can sit down and have a talk. And we can talk about whatever you want. If you're a commission artist, you want to show off what you're working on. If you want to show just basically, let people see the face to the name, because maybe you're somebody who's been watching the show or you're on the YouTubes a lot, and it's all about building community. And I like building community. I like helping people out, and this is a lot of fun to do. So don't be afraid, don't be shy to shoot me a message, and take care of your brushes, and I'll see you guys in the next exciting conversation.